So don't take that.
We won't take the...
Yes, let's be the
Pods.
in
First episode in my brand new book.
Yes.
It's taken to, what, this is our 45th episode.
Yeah,
for
give
me
or
to,
take.
For me to get on to, yeah, actually,
Yeah,
yes.
you finally filled all 15 pages in your previous book.
Yeah, I know, it took so long. Episode 45 of Pods.
In the key
Ah.
of Springfield.
Today we are looking at Season 4, Episode 20, Whacking Day.
Whacking Day.
And we're also looking at Season 4, Episode 21, Marge in Chains.
Marge in charge.
A reference to the Tina Arena 1990-ish hit, I'm in Chains.
Oh, I assumed you were going to make an Alice in Chains reference.
No.
Alice in Chains being, of course, your best friend in primary school.
That's not true. Did I have a friend in primary school? Probably not.
What, any friend?
Yeah, I can't remember any friends from primary school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was someone I went to primary school with is now a news reporter on one of our local nightly news channels.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Yep. So anyway,
Have you considered reaching out to them to do a report on this podcast?
no.
And in local news tonight, popular animated sitcom The Simpsons now has a podcast dedicated to it.
Man, I'm glad. I thought you were going to say popular local podcast, and I was going to have to call you out
It's called Two Bad Neighbors.
and make you do a corrections corner. It's called Angry Dad. So, Season 4, Episode 20, Whacking Day, Couch Gag. The whole family has to sit on one tiny little chair.
Hilarious.
What happened to the couch?
The recession happened to the couch. They had to sell the couch.
The
and-
recession happened just specifically to the couch.
Yeah, it was a couch recession. They had to
couch
trade
recession.
away their couch. They couldn't afford the couch anymore. Now they just have a chair.
Are you sure they didn't take their couch and somehow dispose of it?
See, this is why we record the podcast both sitting on a single chair.
That's not true. We sit on individual chairs. We have separate chairs. There are two chairs and there are two of us.
Nick, don't break the magical fiction that we've built up. Of our
I
podcast
don't
here.
think you and I totem poling on a chair is a magical fiction.
You're breaking the magic circle. Hertzing would be very upset.
That's the second time in 3 episodes you've mentioned this guy.
Yeah,
All
he's
good.
one of our biggest supporters.
Hertzinger.
Herzinger.
Is he related to Nicole Scherzinger, former Pussycat Doll?
Sure, why not? Let's go with that.
All right.
What were some of the songs the Pussycat Dolls had?
They had. Oh my god!
Because I feel like they're on the periphery of my knowledge, like I'm aware of them, but I couldn't name a single song they've done.
Why can't I think of a single Pussycat Doll song?
I just tend to think of the Spice Girls, but more cat-related.
Yeah, every song that I'm thinking of is either Spice Girls or All Saints.
All Saints, the popular drama on
The
Australian TV.
the Australian hospital drama. No, I can't think of a single Pussycat Dolls song. Apparently,
Huh.
I feel
It
really
really seemed like a thing you would know inside out.
I feel like they had a song that was called like "Touch It" or like "Bump It," or like it was a
Are
short.
you thinking of an ad for that Bop Edge toy? Touch it, twist it, Bop Edge.
Grind it. Do it harder, stronger, faster. No, I'm just going to have a quick look at Pussycat Dolls, and then we'll get to this episode.
Okay, this episode being Whacking Day, in which some snakes must get whacked. Barry White pops up. He can't get enough of your love. This episode is a...
Oh, they did Don't Ya?
Don't you wish your girlfriend was a cat like me?
Meow. Yeah. With a guest appearance from Rum Tum Tugger.
I'm running that through my head now. Is that a good song? I think it might be. Like me. Don't you?
I'm not sure that I'm willing to sign off on it as being good.
Well, you know, as far as, you know,
Pop songs.
late 90s pop music goes, I think it was probably fine.
It might hold up. You know what I found has really hold up rather well? Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill
Oh, yeah.
from 1994, 95. That was one of the first CDs I ever bought.
Yeah.
I say one of the first because I tell people Jagged Little Pill's my first album I ever bought. technically the first CD I ever bought was the soundtrack to the Mr. Bean movie, but that is nowhere near as cool as saying it was the Jagged Little Pill.
See, I told you the other day the first album I ever bought was Queen Greatest Hits Volume 2, and you said, oh, fuck you.
Yeah. Because I was like...
Because we were in a group of friends comparing first albums.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a genuinely good answer to have. Whereas, technically Mr. Bean, but we ignore that. But anyway...
The great irony being that Mr. Bean doesn't speak nor sing.
Well, yeah, but it was just... See, that's the thing, is that it was just
a lot of...
It was just the kind of pop rock that was licensed for the soundtrack in the movie. Fucking OMC's How Bizarre was on it.
How bizarre indeed.
I know. And then a cover of... there was some girl group I've never heard of that did a cover
Pussycat
of
Dolls.
He's a Rebel. It wasn't the Pussycat Dolls. I don't even think the Pussycat Dolls were born at the time I bought this album. Implying that they're a band for young people. They're just...
He's a rebel. Okay, got
yes,
it.
he's a rebel, yeah. I really like Skinner's evil laugh after the mountain bikes comment.
Yes, this episode's a fucking cavalcade of joy. I was losing my mind watching this.
This is an episode that, a phrase that I like to use every now and then in this episode. This episode, on this podcast, this episode does not relent.
No, this episode does not relent, and furthermore, it fucks. This is getting a this episode fucks rating from me. Oh. The only rating system that I've implemented on this podcast.
You're officially, you're putting your chips down. You're saying that this episode fucks.
Putting my F chips down. This is an episode that fucks.
Wow.
It opens with old mate Skin Dog trapping a bunch of children under a false pretense and then keeping them trapped for the entire episode.
Very good.
In this episode where Bart does get expelled after breaking out, I feel like Skinner doesn't have much of a leg to stand on, really, because he trapped a bunch of children in a room. And, it seems like... Yeah, seems like Bart should be able to get away with this. Seems like if he told anyone...
What is the exact mechanism for Bart getting expelled again? Like, what is the event that causes him to get expelled?
He hits Chalmers in the butt with a tractor.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he? That's something I was going to ask.
Yes.
In a recent episode, we talked about how... Skinner has quite a nice butt.
Yes, he does.
Who's got a better butt, Skinner or Chalmers?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I feel like Skinner's was more shapely.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Skinner works out more than Chalmers does.
Oh, interesting. Well, it's probably the army background.
Yeah.
He probably keeps himself a little more trim.
Yeah, and he makes sure that he keeps the shoelaces tied up, over and under, in and out. That's what shoe tying's all about. Chalmers, his bending over is motivated by greed. He wants to pick up a 50-cent piece that has been stuck between two flowers.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think, virtue has to come into it when we are judging butts. Judging butts being our side podcast.
Fuck. Judging Butts, a subsidiary podcast of Scope That Dick, a subsidiary podcast of Eat My Shorts, a subsidiary podcast of Pod to the Key of Springfield. I don't think we've ever made the Scope That Dick joke on this podcast.
I feel like I would have used the phrase Scope That Dick at
Scope That Dick. Where did that originate? Was that when the Fassbender thing came out?
When the movie Shame came out, I may have said that dick was worth scoping.
Yeah, I know you said it was considerable, which is my favourite adjective I've ever heard applied to a dick. Anyway, so I've got here...
Yes.
Chalmers talks about school cuts. Jekyll will say something about this.
Yeah, I mean, again, this resonates whenever they talk about what an awful situation the school is in. I don't work at a school, I work at a university. Which one? Who can say? But it's still...
It's like, university is... You might disagree with me here. I think university is a subset of school. I think school is a place of learning. I don't think it's an age-dependent place of learning.
Yeah, it's like big boy school. Big person school.
The hell happened to maybe big boy?
Sure. It's, yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts about the current state of university education. I probably shouldn't get into on this. My podcast about The Simpsons, nominally about The Simpsons.
Nominally.
Only nominally. Yeah, the idea of cutting down to 2 R's is definitely something that is actually happening at the moment. It's
have I talked before about
if you're at university, please go to the lectures because the topic will get cut if you don't.
Have I must have talked before on this podcast about how the 3 R's has always irritated me as a phrase.
That definitely
And
seems like a thing.
I'm glad that it doesn't really exist here in Australia as a phrase.
Well, there's reading, arithmetic, and...
Writing.
Right. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So of the 3 R's, 2 of them start with letters other than R.
Yes. But they've got those R sounds.
Yeah, I know, but it's not good enough. We don't say the 3 R sounds. If you say the 3 C's,
Yeah.
you don't assume that the ocean, as in S-E-A, as in sea, is one of them, right? You assume it's 3 things that start with C.
Yeah.
It's just playing so fast and loose with the definition of what should be a thing in an institution of learning. Like, I don't like it.
In my class, the 3 R's are reading, writing, and are you going to eat that? It's good.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say in your class the 3 things are reading, really lots and lots of talk about sneaky peeks, and who are your guys.
And revising sentences to remove references to my podcast I don't want my students to know about.
Yes, revising sentences to remove references. Lovely.
Now, these bullies who are trapped in this little room, why do they care so much about missing school?
What the hell happened to my bullies? Why do they care about missing school?
Yeah, because they're very keen to break out of there, but if they break out, they're just going to have to learn more things.
No, but isn't that because they're upset about imagining a world without bullies? That upsets them. That's their motivation.
Yeah, I guess they're distressed by the idea of Milhouse needing to fill up his own shirt with leaves.
Yeah, crud, I think you'll find. I think they are distressed because everyone is the centre of their own narrative. They are worried that without their presence in the school, that the school will, in many ways, cease to be.
Yes, that's an interesting thought. Like their hero's journey is being sidelined.
Isn't there a philosopher who philosophized that when you leave a room, that room ceased to exist for you, or something like that? And maybe the school, maybe the bullies are actually having an existential crisis.
Is this the whole idea of if a tree falls in the woods and nobody can hear it, then, you have to aim for the centre and put it in?
See, the problem with that theory
Yeah.
is that as soon as you learn about how the physics of sound works,
Yeah.
You forget how to play golf. That's the sound of one hand clapping.
But is it?
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Shit.
Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to get too tricky here, but that's exactly what it was.
Oh, a little cameo by the PlayStation.
Little cameo by the PlayStation. Hey, PlayStation.
Chalmers is really wonderful in this.
Chalmers is good. Is this the first appearance of Charmy? I don't think so.
I think it is. I
You
can't
think it
remember
is?
it earlier.
It did seem very
Introductory.
Introductory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Because just like I'm trying to remember who it was that I listened to. I've mentioned this already. Listening to a podcast, I think it might have been Bill Oakley, who was talking about
The
why he
inventor
loves.
of the sunglasses.
Yes, exactly. All sunglasses, not just Oakley. That's the weird thing.
That is the weird thing.
Yeah, he was talking about how
Ray-Ban.
Chalmers is the ultimate straight man in
Yes.
this show, and I think that really comes through in this. He's
Yes.
just a little tired of all the ridiculousness while also engaging in it to some extent, and it's great. I love it. I love him.
It is good.
I love that a buxom Scottish redhead appears and seduces Willie for some reason early in this episode.
Yeah, that's they should do more of that.
Yeah, your exact type, I want to say.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to fib. You're right.
Yeah.
Am I going to talk about that? No, I'm not.
No, don't go down that route.
No, we're not going to go down that road.
Which is nothing that bad, just in case I leave this in. It's just not something you'd want to talk
It's
about.
not something. It's not pod worthy, but
Did you notice that Willie's tractor, who is in many ways the 8th main character in this episode of The Simpsons, did you notice the brand name on that
Was
tractor?
Willie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is he brand name or did he have a custom paint job?
Well, I tend to think, is Willie spelling his name with an I-E typically, or is he spelling it with a Y?
Well, when he writes the sign, "Do not touch Willie," good advice.
Yeah.
That's with a Y.
Ah, interesting, okay.
But that might be only to make the joke work.
For the
I think it's
lousy
with a Y.
smudge. Huh.
I might be wrong, actually. I'm gonna very quickly check that.
Okay, you verify
Otherwise-
these Willie facts.
Otherwise-
Ba-na-na-na.
Scope that Willie. Otherwise, I will be told I'm incorrect by the internet. The worst place to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone listens to this episode and wants to correct us on anything. So, Whacking Day in this episode, which is, of course, the day when everyone gets sticks and hits snakes.
Fuck.
What?
IE.
Yeah, as I thought.
Yeah, okay. So he
So
does
I think it's
spell
a
his
Willie
name.
branded tractor owned by Willie, but I think they're different.
I'm not sure if it has to be branded. I think it could just be a custom paint job.
But the name is different.
Oh, was it Willie? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
spelled with a
sorry,
Y
sorry,
on the
sorry,
tractor.
sorry.
Yeah.
That's
That's what I was getting at. That was
was
my whole
fucking-
original thing.
I was fucking everything up. I thought the unusual part was that the tractor was an IE. And
No,
so
the
by-
tractor's a Y.
I completely flipped it around. Well, why not?
Good.
Thank you. Existential tractor crisis.
Yes. It's also like the tractor gets like a personality, and he's like a bit of a character. Bud imagines him talking, and Willie openly says he wants to fuck the tractor.
Yes.
And then the tractor's laughing at Bart when he gets expelled, and the little cap falls off of his nozzle.
It seems like Willie wants a same-sex relationship with the tractor, which is actually quite progressive considering this year.
He's at least bisexual because he
At least, yes.
he
Oh,
goes off
that's
to
true. That's true.
show the pool to the Scottish lads. But
I am also making. Is that a euphemism? I am also making an assumption there based on the depth, the character, the
cadence of the
quality of the voice, the timbre of the voice.
yes. The thing is, when the
tractor.
when the cap falls off the tractor,
Yes.
we've gotten to know this tractor now, and it seems like few people recognize this tractor as sentient. But this is like a debilitating injury for the tractor.
Well, it would be
Surely.
like it would be like if you laughed so hard that your mandible fell off.
Yeah, like if you had like lockjaw, but you couldn't go to a doctor to do anything about it.
Lockjaw,
Yeah, jaw just hanging open,
hanging open.
swinging in the breeze.
That'd be weird. Why is it swinging?
I don't know.
Is it not locked in place? Things that are locked in place tend not to swing. Homocles cares not for beans. I really enjoy the interaction with Skinner and Chalmers, where overhears Ralph saying, "What's a battle?" Oh no, he didn't say battle. He said rattle.
Yes, I was going to ask you, Nick, what is a battle?
Jesus. Okay, let's see how tedious I can be with my response. A battle is like a fight on a scale where there are at least 50 people on either side. I think you need at least 50 people on opposing sides for it to be a
Okay.
battle. I think if it was 30 people on either side,
Yeah.
not counting as a battle. You're looking for a Foley prop.
I think you misheard me, Nick. I asked what that rattle was. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
I hate being pushed into the position of the straight man. It just irks me on such a deep spiritual level. I hate it so much. Thank you, James.
Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm watching you. You're like crawling in on yourself like a dying bug.
I'm-
I really upset you.
I misunderstood. Well, I misheard you because I have a cold.
Oh, okay. So you would hear battles as rattles or rattles as battles.
I would hear bigs as ours, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I really enjoyed the... No, sorry. To take it back to what I was going to say, I really enjoy the mislogic of the I have a cold to explain...
Yeah, it's so silly.
Skinner saying that he has a cold to explain why he misheard a letter, which is why Chalmers understood what Ralph had said. Perfect.
See, my reading of that joke was always, I don't know if this is right, it seems like your logic holds up better, but I always in my head make the assumption that Skinner is saying that to say that Ralph is purposefully saying the wrong word knowing that Skinner will mishear it,
Oh,
like to correct for it, which makes less sense, but it's always how I've liked to read that joke.
that is a very interesting interpretation.
Yeah, because that would make more sense for why,
Yeah,
like him
it
covering
would.
up Ralph saying the wrong thing.
It would.
It makes less sense logistically, maybe more sense as a joke.
Yeah, it
But
does.
I think either way, this is a wonderful moment.
It's a lovely moment. Oh, fuck, I haven't been crossing any of these notes off.
Oh no.
Couch gag, mountain bikes, school cuts, Skinner has a cold.
Can we talk about Whacking Day itself, the day on which the snakes are whacked?
Sure.
Which is such a bonkers concept for an episode.
Oh, it's tremendous.
I don't know where this came from. Probably there's tons of information out there, but people have Wikipedia.
I have a feeling that it's just a general nod to the tribalism of all these patriotic days.
One of my main thoughts is that I bet Trump would be super into this if it was real. Can you imagine?
Oh, I'd be mad.
In the year 2018, if this was a real thing, how there'd be like a very there'd be a huge backlash against it, but then you'd have, like, this idiot in the White House, if you'll excuse me for getting political for a moment, or, sort of talking about the importance of upholding tradition and how important it is that we keep crushing these snake skulls because isn't that what America was founded on? And, we can't have women being Ghostbusters because, being a Ghostbuster has typically been an occupation for a man. It's a very masculine movie. There's an actual argument people made. Fuck everything and everyone.
One of the last movies I saw in a cinema, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, good movie.
Yeah, bought a ticket as a protest.
Yes. Well, and because you wanted to see the movie, kind of.
I wanted to see the movie as a protest to all of the dickheads that were protesting it.
Yeah. Good movie. Yeah. Solid movie.
Yeah, it's fine.
Solid flick.
Sure.
Now there's a little scene in here where
I really enjoy. I've just remembered how much I enjoy the scene where Kate McKinnon, when her character's just being sassy to one of the city officials, and he's like, "Do you have any idea how many laws you broke?" And she's like, "0." It's like, "No, it was heaps." She's like, "It was 0, wasn't it?" Or something like that. I really enjoy that scene. It was good.
Busted makes her feel good. That's a song in the original film. That film was based on another film that came out in the 80s.
Oh, Caddyshack.
Yes. That's why they kept chasing that funny little gopher all over the place.
Yeah.
Hot take, Caddyshack, not a very good movie. Anyway, on to the next point.
Never seen it.
There's some footage early on, like black and white footage of earlier Whacking Days. Sure. A lot of good gags in here, but there's one where there's a very old woman walking up on a cane.
Sure.
And then she takes her cane and starts smacking a snake. And I was watching this thinking, I'm not sure, but I think this might be a reference to the movie Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This might be a bit of a stretch, because Seven Samurai, I think, is the greatest film ever made. It's the film that made me realize I love film, but
sure.
Have I mentioned that I love film, by the way?
Yes, you have.
Okay, Scott Ackerman, if you're listening, I'd love to be on your podcast.
You're currently wearing a t-shirt that just says "I love film."
Yes. I look down to check what shirt I am wearing. I'm actually wearing a shirt that says Bootios.
Bootios. I might get you a t-shirt for Christmas that just said "I love film."
I would wear that shirt every day.
I know you would.
I would never wash it.
Oh.
It would be a nightmare for all involved. But anyway, there's a scene in Seven Samurai where they capture one of the bandits, and this very old lady, they're debating what to do. Very old lady walks up, and it's like, the bandit killed her child, I think. So I believe they let the old lady kill the bandit.
I see.
So, this old woman, limping up, and this gets referenced a lot. I think it's a Seven Samurai thing. Akira Kurosawa, you've been dead for a while, but if you ever come back,
Now, of the Seven Samurai, which one has the best arc? Sleepy, Grumpy, Angry, Doc?
I would say Kikuchiyo.
Yeah, Grumpy and Angry. Turns out, not only can I not remember the 7 dwarfs, I can't think of 7 emotions.
Well, let's see. There was Grumpy, Angry.
I only need 6 emotions because one of them's called Doc. Fuck.
Grumpy, Angry, Shitty.
Surly.
Yep. Ugly.
Surly only looks out for Surly.
Surly, yes. And Drowsy.
And Dan and
Wait,
Tom
there actually was a Drowsy.
From Adderall.
Was there?
Was there a Drowsy?
I think so.
No, it was Sleepy.
Sleepy, sure.
Yeah, Sleepy.
Drowsy would have been better name for a dwarf.
Trousers, did you say?
Yeah. Trousers.
Yeah. Trousers. Oh, this is Trousers the dwarf.
Alright, I'm Trousers, I am.
Hello.
Why are you named after a broad emotion? Because I've got a whole personality. What are you talking about?
I've got a whole pants personality. I'm not one-dimensional like those other fuckwits. I did not realise that the chicken in this, in Bart's hallucination dream.
Yes.
I didn't realise that's where I get the phrase, he's insulting both of us.
Oh, yes.
I use that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a good little thing.
It's a good little thing.
There's a few nice little dream sequences in this one. There's one where Bart imagines becoming a monster after drinking a untested can of soda pop.
Yes, because he dreams about getting, after being expelled, he dreams about the other jobs he can do, and one of them is testing dangerous food additives.
Yes.
Which gives the excellent line, pleasing taste, some monsterism.
Yes, but then Marge says, I'm Marge, I'm your mother, you gotta keep going to school, boy, so They send him to that heavily Christian school.
Yes.
And a scene that I think fucks particularly hard.
It is good.
The scene where he sings Beans, Beans, the Magical Fruit, and
Musical.
yes. There's a line in there that I'd forgotten where he says he wants to sing that song, and the teacher thinks for a moment and says, well, beans were a staple of the Israelites, so yes. That is so hilarious.
I mean...
What a fucking... This episode is so sharp.
It is good, because it's one of those, like, justifying the unjustifiable is a wonderful early Simpsons trait.
Yeah. Just have to come up with a reason why beans are related to religion in some way. What a good fucking episode. And then Marge decides to become his teacher, which is a lovely little thing.
Just before we get into that stuff.
Yes.
So Lisa freaks out when she sees the news report that Whacking Day is coming around.
Yeah.
Does Lisa just forget that Whacking Day occurs every year? Because she seems very, very taken aback by the fact that this day is occurring.
It's like me with my birthday. I forget every year. And then, like a week before, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's right. I'm old now.
I forget how old I am every year. I have to do the maths every time.
That's true. You have been giving the wrong age for a while now.
Yeah,
pointedly.
I've been saying it on this podcast too. 44.
Just keep adding and adding and adding.
102. Yes, so Bart becomes homeschooled by Marge.
Yes.
Now, my first note here is that Marge gives him a book and says, read this. It's about a kid that goes off to war and gets deformed. And Bart says, oh my God, this book should be called Johnny Deformed.
Yes.
My thing to say about this is I did a Google search for bands to see if there was a band called Johnny Deformed. There's not, and I'm actually really sad that that's the case.
Huh.
There should be a punk band called Johnny Deformed.
Yeah. They should call this band Johnny Deformed. I saw a copy of Johnny Tremaine in a bookstore the other day.
Did you buy it?
I considered it, and I thought, I shouldn't buy a book just because there's a good Simpsons joke about it, right?
I reckon you could.
A book that they show a 10-year-old reading and enjoying. I don't know. I'm a man of some age. It feels like a... I don't know. How much would I get out of it? I don't know much about Johnny Tremaine. I just know that his hand got deformed in the war.
Should we...
What the hell happened to my hand?
the hell happened to my hand? As well as 22 long films about or otherwise tangentially related to The Simpsons.
3 or 4 books also about The Simpsons.
Yeah. Should we also do some books that have been referenced? Should we also do a book club? And we can get our listeners to read it too.
That seems like so much work, but
So
why
much
not?
work. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, the thing is, without putting too fine a point on it, or not like overselling a thing that we're planning on doing, I have bought a book a while ago that we were planning on doing some stuff with.
Oh yeah, we were going to do that, weren't we?
Yeah, and that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
I just think about something like, oh yeah, still need to do that. Maybe next season.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think we can...
And by next season, I of course mean summer.
I think we should... I think we should start a book club. I think Johnny Tremaine should be the first one.
Okay.
Because if it's for a 10-year-old, it can't be that long, surely.
Yeah, maybe. And then we can read like, does War and Peace come up in The Simpsons?
No, I have a copy of War and Peace. It's far too long.
Yeah, well, let's do
I
it.
got 10 pages in and went, I've had enough of this.
We'll do, those podcasts that are like a minute of a movie, like each episode is a minute. We'll do War and Peace, but each episode will be 1 page of War and Peace.
Oh, God.
It's going to be such a nightmare once you get up to page 69 and we just record the most insufferable fucking episode of anything ever recorded.
Whenever I think
we get arrested for it.
Whenever I think of War and Peace, I think of a very specific Ross Noble joke that doesn't actually relate to War and Peace.
Is it about a man named War and Peace?
No. Oh, that's good though. No. He was on a British radio panel show where the final game of the show is you have to take... So they give you a topic and you need to come up with book parodies for that topic.
Sure.
The topic was Handyman. And he came up with Spanner Karenina. So whenever I think War and Peace, because I think they're both by Tolstoy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. So
I've got a degree in literature, but I don't know shit.
Spanner Karenina makes me laugh.
Spanakopita. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, they're delicious. Okay, cross out my Johnny Deformed.
Wow, you're out of notes just about...
Yep.
Now, in the homeschooling segment, we get Grandpa coming in to give a little talk about how in the...
The hell happened to my talk?
Yeah. How he crashed in Dusseldorf during the war and had to pose as a cabaret singer.
More Hitler.
We get Hitler, Ich bin liebe, das ist not eine Booby.
Yep.
And here's the thing. We learned that Grandpa wore a dress for a period in the 40s. They had such designers back then.
Yeah.
We saw a few episodes ago him having a dream about being the Queen of the Old West. Is The Simpsons quietly coding Grandpa as queer in this season and then almost never again?
That's
a little bit
interesting.
next season. We get him like turning into a woman when he can't take his pills, and there's a few things here and there, but
It's interesting because it's one of those things where looking at it now with 2018 eyes, I say, oh, interesting, some quiet coding going on there, but a little bit of a nod and a wink. Looking through it with 1994 eyes, real risk that the joke is, imagine.
yeah.
Imagine a man in a dress.
But you watch something like this, and it starts to I start to think, wouldn't it have been really cool if they had actually followed up on this in some sort of realistic way? Like if they had just made it so Grandpa was just like a guy who was into wearing dresses, and that became part of his character. And there still would have been ways of making that funny without making the joke that it's a man in a dress.
Yeah, totally. Like
Yeah.
What's that show? Transparent.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, which a lot of problems with that show, but still, I feel like there's
There are ways to find comedy in that area without being a shithead.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
I'm not saying yes again.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was just the thing that I was kind of thinking. I feel like I feel like a lot of the coding is probably unintentional. Like I've talked before about how people have argued that Bart is coded as queer throughout a lot of The Simpsons, and I don't think they're consciously doing that because I just don't think that's on their radar as a thing worth doing. It took until season 24 for Smithers to be. I'm just pulling a season out of my ass, so I just know it was late before they made Smithers openly gay. So it's a long involved process.
I feel like, especially in season 4, though, a lot of Bart's fantasy dreams involve him dressing up as a woman to save the day.
Yeah, we get one next episode that
we
is
do
wonderful.
get one next episode that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
The Marge being really turned on by Homer's Whacking Day stuff is...
Yeah.
I really like that. I think it's a clever little character move. I think it's
into
just it's such a weird, inappropriate character beat that I think it works.
Sure, okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, I would pin Marge's character trait as typically one who abhors violence. But the violence of Whacking Day seems to have become so
Normalized.
and so heavily codified as part of the identity of the city that Marge doesn't associate it as being a horribly violent act.
And I think she's kind of turned on by Homer's passion and competency when it comes to
Oh yeah,
whacking.
I mean the ninja stuff in the backyard is maybe the most skillful thing Homer's done.
Although it's just occurred to me, and please correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but I'm just thinking about what actually happens in the episode. Homer's little story doesn't really have a conclusion. We never see him once the snake whacking begins, do we?
No, we don't.
Because there's this whole thing about, he's really into Whacking Day. Lisa's very opposed to Whacking Day. Surely part of the logical progression of his storyline would be eventually realizing, oh yeah, Lisa's right. Shouldn't just go around hitting snakes with,
We absolutely do not see Homer in the climax of this episode.
yeah.
Where did he go?
I want to know, don't hurt me. Yeah, that is strange. Where do you go?
What?
I'm singing a little ditty.
What song?
I don't know what it's called. It's fine. There's I forget the context for this, but they're trying to find a town idiot for some when Bart goes on that field trip.
Yeah.
They're advertising for a town idiot, and we see a bunch of people applying for this position, and the guy says, I played bumbling idiot or whatever in the Poseidon Adventures, and they say, we're sorry, we're looking for more of a duh idiot.
Yes.
I feel like this is my experience in life at all times, I'm never the right kind of idiot that these people are looking for the jobs that I'm applying for.
I don't know, man. When I put the ad out for a podcast co-host, you're exactly the kind of idiot that I was looking for, baby.
Yeah, I called you up and it said, duh.
And I went, here's my fucking guy.
Duh, I like The Simpsons.
And I want to do a project that's nominally about them. All 44 of their main characters.
The last note that you have, am I right in assuming that has something to do with $10 per axle?
Oh my god. The Axel guy, hooray, has been one of my favourite guys for such a long time. Homer's charging parking for... Oh, that's why we don't see Homer. No, that's fucking... What a logic loop. Homer, the man who is most excited about Whacking Day, is not present for Whacking Day because he's charging Whacking Day car parking in his house, the house that we then see all the snakes getting let into when there are no cars in the front or backyard.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I've only just clicked on that.
Just untangled that. God, I must have seen this episode like 150 fucking times, and I've never bothered to untangle.
I've never bothered to consider
this notch that they've tied.
Because that is all on the same day, isn't it? Like, he's doing official Whacking Day parking.
Yeah. And they're all parking at a house that is nowhere near the starting point.
Nowhere near the centre of town. And then all the cars fuck off. Wow. Man, I hope
Isn't it weird how this episode is so funny, you just never think about any of this. I didn't even think about it while we were watching it. And sitting down now, when I started to talk about the axe, I was like, hang on a moment.
I really
Hooray!
Hooray! I really hope that there are some listeners who just had the same mind-blowing realization that we did. It will be very, very awful if everyone replies with, "Oh, you bunch of idiots, of course."
God, there's gonna be some poor listener like on a bus who just starts screaming.
Oh, I mean, I think we've got a couple
tears streaming from their eyes as their brain breaks.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually... I was going to talk more about how much I love Axel Guy, but I'm not sure I'm prepared to do it.
Axel Rose, yeah. So Homer is charging $10 per axle. A bunch of cars pull up. Then Whacking Day starts. Homer is never seen again. Although, is this an egg flip universe thing? Are we seeing two different, overlapping versions of reality here?
We're seeing two different iterations of 742 Evergreen Terrace.
Yeah.
One in which there is a lot of cars and one in which there is a lot of snakes.
Yeah.
Interesting. What a fucking bizarre... But anyway, so not only is Axel Guy my favourite because of his relentless optimism, but it's now become a thing that I sometimes do, and I've got a couple of my friends to do it. Hello, Shane and Tammy, if you're listening. You're not, but that's fine.
This is another thing that I used to do with my pal Matt back in the day.
Oh, really?
This is another Matt moment.
A big arms up. Hooray!
Hooray! Yeah.
So I think I like to put more of an accent on the R than you. I'm putting a bit of a clipped R, so it almost comes across as like an L or a D. Hooray! Because I try to do it like the little Axel man.
Yeah.
Axel Man, the greatest hero of them all.
Was that Action Man?
It was.
Huh.
Yeah.
What a dull name for a little
Action
hero.
Man.
Little hero man. We get Barry White in this episode, who can't get enough of your love.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's good.
And I mean, as we were ending this episode, I came up with a parody that I'm very pleased with.
Yeah.
My darling, I can't get enough of Whacking Day. The irony being, he can get enough, and actually he wants less.
Yeah. He won't stop till he's got enough, which is immediately.
What's that you get enough? Come on, right now.
Yeah. And, this is another this is another in a string of season 4 moments where a celebrity arrives in town and is immediately disrespected and misunderstood.
Yes, good.
Which I enjoy.
Larry
White.
Were they even listening to me? I don't think so.
I'm Quimby.
Quimby.
The snakes in this are really cartoony.
They're so colourful.
Yeah, I feel like this is weird. Like, these snakes are not snakes in any recognizable way other than being slithery creatures.
Yeah, and also, judging by how many snakes, like, there are 3 snakes in every fucking bush, no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Surely Springfield doesn't always have that snake infestation.
I mean, frankly, if there's this many snakes, maybe they actually do need to cull the snake numbers.
Yeah.
It seems like too many.
It's an alarmingly high number of snakes.
An entire wave of snakes wipes out Mr. Largo.
Oh, man, that's a fun scene. Maybe that's what happened to Homer and all the cars. They were pushed off into the nether region. Not the nether region, that's not the right
Another
phrase.
dimension, I get
Don't
it.
put your hand down there when I say nether region. And they were pushed off into another dimension on a wave
It's
of
going to be a
snakes.
weird thing. Don't put your hand down there. Who are you, George Harrison?
What? Oh, yes. Back to the Paul McCartney circle
There's two
jerk.
recordings in a row where I've referenced the Beatles masturbating, and it's taken you a few seconds to work out what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm sorry, but when you make a reference to the Beatles, it's only very recently that a circle jerk has to be part of the Venn diagram of what I consider to be Beatles. God. Really brings a whole new light to the meaning of the lyrics "come together right now" over me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a, the more I think about this episode, the fucking weirder it is. This episode is so hysterically funny that I feel like the central bizarreness of it has sort of passed me by a little bit. But now that we're sitting here and talking about everything we say, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a bit weird.
It is.
This is a weird one.
Weird one.
They lure all the snakes into their house with a method that would not work because Bart has been reading The Truth About Whacking Day by Bob Woodward.
Bob Woodward.
Who just last week, released a book about the Trump administration.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
The Truth About Trumping Day.
Yeah,
what it's
basically.
called?
I mean, there's such an industry now for just like inside looks at the Trump administration that people buy because they think like by reading this book they'll gain the knowledge that will help them take down the administration, only to realize that it's like a fool's pursuit and like we're just gonna have to deal with this fucking garbage.
Well,
And
see, I've been
not that people shouldn't protest. Protesting is a
I've been reading this book, and this tells me. I'll open it to the right page. This tells me that what we need to do is go to the lawns of the White House.
Yeah.
We need to resurrect and reanimate Barry White because he's been dead for some time. Then we need to put the speakers down on the ground.
Yeah.
And if we start playing some sweet, sweet, funky disco music with a lot of bass, Trump will slither his way out of the White House.
That's interesting because I've also been reading a book here, and according to my book, and this is really interesting, I thought, but according to my book, Trump is both a cunt and a dead shit.
Second use of that word in this podcast.
Yep.
Possibly they're both against him.
Yeah, I think I use that word exclusively to refer to Trump these days.
That works.
I mean, there's some other people I would happily, use in relation to, but Trump is really deserving of literally anything bad you could say about him. What a worthless jackass of a man.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anything else about Whacking Day?
They left those kids trapped in that room for a very long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, the bullies. And then they give them some bikes, and they ride them away.
Ride them away.
And everyone is happy. Incredible episode. Wonderful.
This episode actually caught me off guard with how much I enjoyed it.
There was a weird thing at the end, actually, that I mentioned to you, where at the end they're talking about how great snakes are. And the only two examples they give are that Barry White thinks they're sexy, and that
I love the sexy slither of a lady snake.
I love to fuck snakes. And then the
Barry.
he didn't come here to fuck snakes nor spiders. But Mrs. Glitch, is it, or Glick? They ask her who got rid of those rats in your basement, and she says Snake did. And is that meant to be Snake the jailbird, or
is that meant to be Snake Jailbird?
Yeah.
Or is she just weirdly saying that a single snake came and killed all the rats?
Yeah, it's curious.
It's weird because if it is Snake Jailbird,
Yeah.
for a start, what's he doing going around? Is he a door-to-door rat killer? Like, that's weird. But if he is in fact a door-to-door rat killer, that shouldn't increase her love of or tolerance towards the animal snakes.
We live in Australia, which is a fairly snake-heavy country.
Snake-heavy country.
Have you had many snake encounters in your life?
I have walked past a tiny little snake in a gutter.
Yeah.
I have seen a quite large snake slither across the road, but a fair way in front of me when I was walking one day.
Yeah.
When I was in primary school, we did the classic, like, go to a zoo and it's
Touch the snake.
And it's like one of the big, long but mostly harmless ones, and
Yeah.
they drape it across the teacher, and,
Yeah.
and the teacher shits themselves in fear, and everyone laughs.
I used to have a local library that had a python. That was pretty cool. But in the wild, like I feel like I used to see a lot of brown snakes in my youth, and now I haven't seen one in a very long time. And they're the worst fucking snakes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say, they're one of the. I think the worst is the red-bellied black snake, isn't it?
Maybe.
I think that's the most poisonous. Well, maybe it is the brown snake. I don't really know.
I remember once I was at my grandparents' place.
How many ladders do you see in the wild?
Ladders? Oh, yeah.
Snakes and ladders.
I see a lot of chutes, very few ladders.
Damn you again with your Americanization of
Although
a
it
damn
is actually
Australian
chutes
podcast.
and ladders, isn't it? It's anyway, but maybe I was at my grandmother's place once when
Yeah,
I
it
was
is
like
chutes and
6 or
ladders,
7.
oh, fuck.
And she was like, I just saw a big lizard down the side of the house. I'm like, I'm going to go look at this lizard. I look down. I just see what I assume is a very long tail. And I'm looking, I'm like, I don't know. This doesn't look like a lizard to me. I think this might be a snake. She's like, no, it's a lizard. It's definitely a lizard. Then she went back out and looked at it like, oh no, that is a huge snake.
Fuck.
Had to call the snake catcher. And then she had a sticker inside one of the cabinets in her house that said, don't tango with Fango. And whenever I think about snakes, I think about the phrase, don't tango with Fango.
Fucking what is? Hang on. What is Fango the name of the snakeman, or is it a type of snake?
Well, Fango is like a euphemistic name for the snake, I suppose, because he's got fangs. Don't tango with Fango.
So the snake catcher came around and said, "Well, it's all right. I've saved you and your family from what could have been a very dangerous situation. Might I interest you in this amusing sticker, so you can remember me?"
This is great because this never struck me as an odd thing until I mentioned it right now. Now I'm like, you're right, that is a weird sticker.
And then not only does the Snake Man have non-business branded stickers that just have a fun slogan, but your grandmother, who I'm sure is a lovely person, went, you know what the right spot for this is? Inside of a cupboard. There are several things.
I think it had the phone number of the snake catcher on it.
Okay, that makes it a bit more sensible, but there's just several things about that I find fascinating and strange. Tremendous.
Well, he was out of his don't fuck with snakes stickers, so we had to go with don't tango with Fango.
Don't tango with Fango. Especially because if I was going to refer to a snake by that nickname because of its fangs, I wouldn't pronounce the G, it'd be Fango. And then it's don't tango.
Don't tango with Fango.
Don't tango with Fango. And that's weird. Season 4, episode 21, Marge in Chains.
Marge in charge.
Marge in charge
of our days and our nights.
Glad
we harmonised on that because I do not know that song particularly well.
I only know it through references on other podcasts, which is, that's how I know everything these days. I can't believe they invented that. Nice little opening sting. I do enjoy the TV-related opening stings in this, in this popular animated sitcom, The Simpsons.
My broad feeling about this episode, rewatching it, is there's a term they use on the podcast, blank check, quite often, which is a movie podcast I'm very fond of.
Sure.
Quite often they will say setup in a movie is very sweaty.
Oh.
And I think this entire episode is very sweaty. It feels like this episode is straining itself very hard, I think, to reach some of the scenes it reaches.
Sure. Okay. Interesting.
Watching this, there was just a lot of moments where I was thinking, this one's a little off in ways that I didn't expect.
I actually don't remember watching this episode, and we watched it less than an hour ago.
You've got a whole page of notes,
I know,
which is strange for you.
Almost a whole page, and I've got a discovery, which I'm saving for the very end.
Good.
So it's whisper quiet.
I'd like to talk about the
thing I like to say all the time.
The chalkboard gag.
Oh, the chalkboard
Where
gag.
Bart writes, "I do not have diplomatic immunity."
Sure.
So, do you think Bart has just been involved in some sort of like Lethal Weapon 2 style scenario where has he been claiming diplomatic immunity while he's been committing crimes across the state?
What?
Have you seen Lethal Weapon 2?
No.
Okay.
What was Bart? Diplomatic immunity. I know that much. But what ambassador was Bart pretending to be?
The one from Lethal Weapon 2, I assume.
But all ambassadors have diplomatic immunity, not just the ones in Lethal Weapon 2.
But I want to talk about Lethal Weapon 2 for a moment. Written by Shane Black, who just made The Predator, which was fucking terrible. I hated it. But Now, towards the end of that film, the bad guy has just done us all a favor and shot Mel Gibson. And
Yes, very
Danny
good.
Glover comes out and he sees the guy. And the guy says, diplomatic immunity, because the whole reason they haven't been able to get this guy for the whole movie is that he has diplomatic immunity.
Sure.
And Danny Glover's like, fuck this, and just shoots him in the head. And then he says, it's just been revoked. And that's fucking great.
Good.
But, it hadn't been revoked. And then Lethal Weapon 3 comes around and, like, everything's fine. There's no repercussions at all to shooting this guy with diplomatic immunity. What's going on?
That is an interesting... I guess the answer is I don't really know, James. Because
Lethal Weapon 2 is a fun movie.
I've not seen the fucking movie.
Mel Gibson, if you're out there, fuck you. We've already told you to get fucked, saying it again.
Yeah, we know. We've
You're
already
going to come up a little later in this podcast, so...
we've already lashed out at Gibson.
Yeah.
Well,
he deserves it.
Yeah. I
can't believe they invented it. I reckon that show probably exists now.
Yeah, I
There's
agree.
probably a YouTube channel out there somewhere.
I have an odd feeling about the Juice Listener.
Me too.
I understand that the joke behind it is that it's meant to be incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
I think it needs more juice to come out than one drop.
Absolutely.
One drop is not funny.
It is a little too shit.
It's too shit. He puts in a whole bag of oranges.
You know how, people who, like, if somebody's very young or they're just not that experienced with making a joke, they'll make a joke like this and the numbers won't be right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a Looney Tunes bit that I think I've referenced on this podcast before about how the funniest weight for an anvil to hit someone is 16 tons.
Yes.
And I think about that all the time. Just the importance of, like, if it's squeezed out maybe like a tenth of a cup, that would be funny.
Yes, but one drop is
One drop
not
is not
funny.
enough. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm glad that we both came down on the same side of that incredibly niche fence. I'd like to know what the listeners think as well. I'd actually like to know if people are on our side that one drop is too few drops to be funny.
Because the idea should be that you watch the juice start to come out and it seems to be operating fine, and then it conks out very quickly.
Very quickly thereafter.
And they have to act like they're impressed by how much came out.
Yes.
One droplet is a clear malfunction.
And especially one droplet after, like it doesn't start coming out straight away. It's one droplet after 3 seconds of mechanical whirring.
Yeah.
No.
We have to be sold on the fact that the entire town sees this ad and wants to buy this juicer. And it's not... We can't buy into the idea that Troy McClure is that good a salesman, you know?
Yes, I agree.
There needs to be more.
Something that I do very much enjoy, though, is when when you see Troy squeezing the orange against his eye.
Yes.
And he said, this is the only way. And then you go, that's a funny little thing. And then it cuts to Homer doing that exact motion, saying, what, there's another way?
That is good.
I do enjoy the way that they make that joke a reality. That is good. That is very
The way
good.
they just make it like, this is just how people do it. This is how we do it. Yes. Good.
Yes.
Good stuff. But sweaty.
Very enjoyable. So this note is what I like to call a two-parter.
Yep.
Very enjoyable visualization of the flu virus right up until the point where it starts to become visible in the world of The Simpsons. And then I'm not sure I like it anymore. People open the box, see the flu virus and go, ah!
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like that.
My thinking is that if we could actually visualize germs this way, if they materialize as clouds of spores, life would be easier.
That's a good point.
We could just avoid
the cloud of spores.
Avoid the noid.
Would I want to visualize germs? Would I want to have permanent blacklight vision? I don't think I would.
It's strange and it's difficult to come to terms with.
Difficult to come to terms with.
Yeah. There's some silliness in this one.
There is.
Now, the mayor says that there's a state of emergency or something, and this is another thing that I wasn't a fan of when he's... I like the whole thing where he's on holiday and he's just got the backdrop, but you've got, like, the mayor's, like, I don't know, like the coat of arms thing with the logo and the Latin text. And the Latin text says, corruptus and extremis. That's a bad joke.
Yeah, it's a little bit too on the nose, isn't it?
Extreme corruption, like...
Yeah.
There's a way to do that. That's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little down on this one. I think part of that is because Whacking Day
Is so good.
fucks so hard. And then this one's sweaty.
Yeah.
I do like the truck full of killer bees, though. Killer bees are always funny.
Bees are good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Oprah Bees GIF has been... the Oprah Bees GIF has been a perennial GIF, I think.
And I feel like since Arrested Development, I found the word bees inherently funny for reasons that are not worth getting into. But other people out there will be like, oh, I understand. I agree. My name is Bob or something.
My name is Bob or something.
Yeah.
What's my next note is OJ Morphine Lobo. I don't really think I have anything to say about that, other than I enjoy the way that in season 4 we have quite a few instances of hallucinations being visualized with repeated phrases. I think season 4 seems to be the season for the repeat phrase hallucination.
I do think they
OJ Morphine Lobo, a lovely combination of syllables.
They come out Marge being overworked and stressed out because everyone is sick too fast.
Yeah, there's no build up to it.
Yeah, we get like one scene of people asking her for things, and then she's at the Quickie Mart, like strung out of her mind.
I suppose the implication is that she's also sick, and that's adding to her stress and the fact that she's strung out. But they need to show us that she's also sick.
I've never felt like she was sick. I thought she was the only one who was well, and that's why she's being left to do everything.
Yeah, see, I took the interpretation based on the fact that her skin is a little paler than normal, which could be a sign of, which could be the way they've drawn the stress. But I always thought it was, not only is she as sick as the rest of the family, but she's also the one that still has to look after the rest of the family.
I mean, there should have been a line where she's like, I'm Marge, and I'm sick as well, baby. Turn a bit Pepe Le Pew there. Pepe Le Pew can go get fucked.
Yeah, I mean, what a rapey skunk.
Yeah.
Skunk? Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to say cat, then I'm like, no.
It's the cat that he's
chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she gets some paint on her.
So you got the cat, you got the skunk. That's my voice.
There's a scene in here of Ned watching Married with Children.
Yes.
And look, there are 2 scenes in The Simpsons where they watch Married with Children. And I have seen a lot of Married with Children, like more than I should have, frankly. I've seen a lot of episodes, but whenever I try to think of it, all I can think of are the 2 scenes in The Simpsons that basically boil it down to the 1 or 2 jokes that are in.
Yes.
The one in Deep Space Homeland next season, which is just, Al, let's have sex. No, Peg. Perfect. And that's the entire show.
And then a toilet flushing.
Yes.
Yes, that is good. I think I watched Married with Children, but I couldn't remember anything of it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. The Simpsons is my go-to point.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should rewatch Married with Children.
You would not like it.
I'm not going to do
You would
that.
have a very hard time with it.
Is that because it's content or because it's particularly objectionable content?
No, I think look, I can't remember it well enough to say whether the content is objectionable. I just know it's the same jokes over and over again, and you would find it tedious.
Yes,
you
I
would
would.
get angry.
Yes,
you
I would.
Hulk out.
Hulk out.
Yes.
Tremendous.
Hulk out.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there one of these left?
Yeah, maybe.
Should we split it in half?
Oh, yeah, sure. Should we do
Right.
Biscuit Corner or Biscuit Index or whatever?
Mid-podcast Biscuit Index. So, you may remember a few weeks ago we talked about biscuits. Didn't get any feedback from people who didn't like us eating on the podcast, so we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Last time I had the Iced Vovo and the Kingston. Today we've got something a little different. We've got the Monte Carlo-based cake.
The mini cake.
The mini cake. So there are these mini cakes. We've already had some. I'm gonna rip this in half as best I can.
You're whiffing it. No, you've pulled it
I
off.
reckon I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Which half would you like, sir?
I'm gonna go with this one.
This one?
I feel
Perfect.
like this one's being held together less by your fingers. Alright, so we're doing like a review of this, or
I guess so.
it's quite cakey.
The first bite.
Cakey.
The first bite's really good.
It's got
Every-
that
every-
good coconut texture.
Every subsequent bite can absolutely fuck off.
It's got the same feeling I think you get in like a Twinkie.
Yeah, I think it does. That kind of fake cream. But it's too sticky and moist for me.
It's like something you would have at your grandparents' house over tea. Or maybe you'd have like dinner, and then they'd put out a bunch of cakes on the table, and this would be one of them.
A bunch of shit cakes. Oh, that wasabi's in my pocket.
A pocket full of wasabi. Loose wasabi, just fill in your pockets.
Yep.
Good.
Very gloopy. Have you ever consumed Colonel Quickie Mart's Kentucky Bourbon?
I feel like I've drunk the real world equivalent.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got some shit bourbon at home at the moment. Tennessee something or another.
Tennessee Williams,
Yes.
author of Class Menagerie and Streetcar Named Desire.
Yes. It's, I'm trying to think what would be a good, like a... No, I got nothing.
Oklahoma Stevens.
Yes, Oklahoma Stevens, indeed. So that's the weirdly store-branded whiskey that Marge accidentally steals.
That puts Marge in jail because for some reason, Apu and Sanjay... Sanjay? Yeah.
Sanjay.
For some reason, they care. Like,
Deeply.
I just don't get... In a world in which...
In a world.
Would you like me to make this whole point like that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna get up on the mic to get the real close miking of that, which means you might need to talk up a bit for your responses. In a world where Apu Nahabimapedalon wears his injuries caused by armed hold-ups as a badge of honor,
Mamma mia, I've been shot, I have.
it simply doesn't make any sense that he would get so up in arms about one of his most loyal customers and longest friends accidentally...
Homer, I don't understand why Apu's so up in arms about this. Do.
accidentally stealing a single bottle of bourbon.
I will nail her ass to the wall.
It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No, it's ridiculous.
Like, he literally celebrates the fact that he's gone through and survived so many armed hold-ups. Not once do we see him taking action against any of those perpetrators.
Yep.
And yet Marge accidentally steals a bottle of thing which she would have instantly offered to pay for, except she got arrested and taken away.
Now, if I can just very briefly address the elephant in the room that next season we're going to have to address more specifically, I think. The whole Apu thing, because of course there's a bit of a thing around Apu.
Yeah.
Now, in this episode in particular has aged pretty poorly.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
There's a scene of like Apu and Sanjay dancing to Indian music that plays like... Isn't it funny how these people from a different culture dance and sing?
They're just screaming in gibberish, and it's not cool.
Yeah, and
it's not cool.
Yeah, it's strange. And like I said, we're going to get into that in more detail next season because we kind of have to. And then, you know, that's a thing that deserves like a lot of input and thought and like, you know, the sort of careful research discussion that we are known for.
So we're going to have to get someone else to do that. And, oh, God.
But in this episode in particular, it has aged weirdly and poorly.
I just don't get why they would care.
No, there's a lot about this episode that,
I would actually prefer, from a story point of view, I would have preferred if Apu was sick and had to close the Quickie Mart for the first time ever. So Marge had to go to a different shop, accidentally stole some bourbon from there, and they come down on her like a ton of bricks because they don't know her. Yeah. And in a town where everyone is sick, it is very easy to close the Quickie Mart and have to make Marge go to a different shop.
And even in the like weird elastic world of The Simpsons, where a lot of things are permissible,
I'm an elastic girl in an elastic world.
Stole some whiskey. He got pissy.
Good. No, hang on. What about stole some whiskey? Police frisked me. Stole some whiskey. Police frisked me.
Got giant blue hair. Fuck. God, that would have been good if I had a line to follow that up with, though.
That would have been tremendous. Imagine following things up. Law talking guy. As someone who works as a lawyer, I've often described myself as, that's why
I've often described you as a law talking guy.
Thank you. It's good. And guilty is spelled wrong. Now, this is my grammar note that I flagged I was going to make.
Go. Grammar note. In law corner. Corner.
Something that I kind of quietly realised a while ago, and I've never verified this because I'm lazy, but I figure you might be able to help me. Because Judge Schneider, which, by the way, it is astonishing that Lionel Hutz is not in jail.
After repeatedly running over Snyder's son.
After repeatedly running over anyone, you should end up in jail. But anyway, he specifically says guilty is spelled wrong.
Yes.
Now, I think if most people were writing that, they would say spelt, S-P-E-L-T. I think it should be S-P-E-L-L-E-D, because verbs tend to be ed when in past tense.
Yes.
And I think spelt with a T is the adjective form. But I don't think anyone uses it as an adjective. Everyone uses it as the past tense verb.
Yeah. That's just language being shit. And people not wanting to learn these very specific rules.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I believe you are right.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I also think the same thing about... oh, fuck, there's another one example. Dreamed, maybe? Everyone uses dreamt, but I think that's an adjective again. And but I might be wrong on that one.
Well, we are like the dreamer.
Jesus. I served that up to you on a fucking platter.
You're like the dreamer. Dreams, and then lives inside the dream.
You look more upset by that than I can't figure out why.
I don't know. It's partly because earlier on you mentioned that you were going to work into Sneaky Peeks, and I looked up at the
That
thing.
was last episode we recorded.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got one more note to finish on.
I gotta. Well, I know you're saving that. I
know,
got like a full page here still.
I'm going to save mine till the end.
There was a string of.
Papa, Nick must be working on something real good. He's saving his note to the end.
Well, he just doesn't want you to have that blood, Jimmy. There's a string of
You little nickhead.
There's a string of very specific movie references in here. Did you pick up on the I mean, there's the crying game one, obviously, which is weird and terrible. But around that, the podium that Quimp is on, I think that's a Citizen Kane reference.
Oh, in the podium and the enormous stadium?
Yeah, it's been...
Because what stadium...
It's been about 13 years since I saw that movie, and we're going to rewatch it soon, probably, but I think...
Because my question is, what stadium is that in?
That is, I believe that's actually the Stadium Arcadium that Red Hot Chili Peppers recorded their album in. Hum, de bump, this is a Chili Pepper song. You know, the 4 songs they have.
Yeah.
And then, did you catch the Psycho reference? The reference to the movie Psycho. Have you seen the movie Psycho?
Nope. It's not the stabbing in the shower.
No, but it is related to that.
Oh.
It's when Maud looks through that little eye hole and watches Marge in the bathroom. That's a little Psycho thing.
Ah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't aware
Sure
of
as sugar.
I wasn't aware of that.
We should probably watch Psycho at some point.
Yep.
We should probably add that to the 22 Flims
Yeah, sure.
list. Now, Nick, I got
Yeah,
a
go.
question for you based on this court case.
Yeah, man.
Because, you're the law guy, so I figured law question you'll be, a question related to this case you'll be good with. Who do you find more attractive, Tom Cruise or Mel Gibson?
Interesting. I don't like either of them. I mean, they're both rather objectionable. No, I mean, I think I've heard more people say that Tom Cruise is more attractive.
Yeah.
But, I mean, neither of them do it for me.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's good. So that's your official position,
That's my
like
official-
legally.
Yes. What
Okay,
kind
good.
of tie are you wearing? None at all. Feels like I'm wearing no tie at all. Oh, has someone done a mashup of that? Surely. Like, Huts quoting Flanders.
Oh, that's good. You should do that. There was a Tumblr account years ago that was like people would submit screenshots from The Simpsons alongside, like this is like what the clickbait BuzzFeedy like headline would look like for this, and I submitted one that was I can't remember the exact wording, but it was Huts without his tie on up the sleeve, and it was something along the lines of, he asked this witness what kind of tie he was wearing. The answer he gave will shock you. Something like that.
Yeah,
It was better than that. It was good. But,
nice.
yeah.
Nice, good.
Pooh seems to have a photographic memory. As much as this is all quite weird, but I think Phil Hartman's performance as Lionel Hutz is particularly good in this episode. I think he does a really good job with all the weird little beats they give him about alcoholism and talking to David Crosby and not wearing any pants and showing his little dick to the jury.
Yeah, because he's also not just wearing no pants, not wearing any underpants, James.
Yes. And they, now Marge ends up going to prison, of course. That is
Marge.
the Marge in Chains of the title. Now, without putting too fine a point on this, Marge is she stole a bottle of liquor. And there are some circumstances where somebody would go to jail for this. But Marge is a affluent white woman. And,
But perhaps, I mean, I see where you're going, but also perhaps more importantly, with no criminal history,
Yeah.
which means she should not
But
have gone
beyond,
to prison
like,
for this.
I guess my thinking is the prison system in the US is inherently racist. The courts and the legal system, huge racism issues. Like incarceration in the US is primarily. I mean, it's weird that when she goes to prison, everyone there is white. That's like a problem because it is not representative of a huge actual social issue that I think even like a silly comedy show should deal with if you're going to have an episode where somebody goes to prison. And yeah, like Marge is not going to go to prison over this.
No, absolutely not. It is. I mean, it's not quite the kind of mind-blowing revelation we had about Homer's cars, but it is an interesting point.
And it ends up being weirdly weightless because we have no idea how long her sentence is for. It could be like a week, it could be a year. I've got no fucking idea.
Yeah,
She
true.
seems to be in there for just a few minutes of the episode. We get very little about what it's actually like in there.
And not only that, but like, yeah, okay, so she was caught at the shop stealing the bottle of bourbon, but there was no loss to the shop because they got the bottle of bourbon back straight away, still in saleable condition.
Yeah.
Which actually means, like, that kind of thing is taken into effect for sentencing, not insofar as the guilt part, whether or not the crime was committed, but it is taken into account for what the punishment should be. They got the bottle back straight the fuck away.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way anyone would go to jail for that. Racist system or not, no one would go to jail for that. It's fucking bonkers.
But if we do accept that Marge goes to prison for whatever reason, very strange that the episode tells us a lot about what happens to her family and the town while she's in there. Nothing about Marge's actual experience as a prisoner.
Yeah, interesting.
We get, like, a scene of her meeting her bunkmate.
Yeah.
A scene of her meeting Tattoo Annie.
Yep.
Who, by my standards, does not have that many tattoos, frankly.
Uh-huh.
And nothing else. We don't find out, like, what it's actually like for Marge in this prison.
Yeah, that's
we just
weird.
find out that, like, the family can't cope without her. We've already had episodes about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more I think about it, the more I don't think... I think this is actually not a very good episode.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan, I have to say.
Yeah, which is, because I tend to just assume every episode from season 4 is very good, and now rewatching this, I'm like,
I mean, yeah, between the clip show and this, season 4 falters a bit in the end.
We do get that lovely scene of Bard imagining seducing a warden and then hitting them with a crowbar, though.
That's good.
Dressed in a little red dress.
A crowbar that is kept down the cleavage of his little red dress.
Yes. And we get a scene of Chief Wiggum getting attacked by a pack of dogs. So I enjoy that.
Good.
Yeah. Now, what was your last night?
So we see, I don't even remember the context now. We see someone drive it. Oh, we see Snake Jailbird.
Yeah.
Takes the entire. So Apu says, "Oh well, now my store will be safe.
I'm Apu.
Now that Marge is in jail, I'm Apu."
Yeah.
And then we see Snake Jailbird driving away with the entire Quickie Mart shop on the back of a truck.
Yes.
There's a roadside distance sign, and there are the following distances on the sign.
Yes, okay.
Shelbyville, 47. I'm presuming these are all in miles because we're in America.
Yep, miles per hour.
North Haverbrook, 63.
And by gum, they put them on the map.
And Mexico City, 768.
Okay.
So what I've done, James, is I have got this here computermatron to... I found a tool that lets you draw a radius on a map around a certain point.
Okay.
So I've drawn a radius around Mexico City, which is 768 miles.
Oh, okay.
And you can, people at home, if you don't believe me, you can do this yourself. 768 miles. The only American state within 768 miles of Mexico City is the bottom, like, southwest corner of Texas.
Ooh.
I've clocked where Springfield is. Springfield has to be south of San Antonio.
Okay.
Somewhere around Laredo, Corpus Christi, McAllen, Brownsville, somewhere in that triangle in the southwest of Texas.
Oh, that's interesting. It literally is a triangle based on this.
Yeah, based on...
Well,
this,
more of a diamond, I suppose. Shine bright like a diamond, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm zooming further and further in to see if there's any actually city called... There's Pleasanton, there's Pearsall, there's Dilley, there's Cotulla.
Where is Austin?
Austin is there.
Ah, yep, okay, so they're well outside of
Yeah,
Austin.
so
okay.
Austin's well outside of it. But, for decades, the debate about which state Springfield is in has raged. They are, and if you think about it...
You got the Texan oil magnate.
Sure,
around
yes,
town,
yes, they're Texan oil magnate, and also constant references. Like, Mexico is near Springfield.
Yeah, south of the border,
So-
down Mexico way.
So we get the Camp Krusty one where they go.
Yeah.
We get in the very previous episode where Willie said to Skinner, what if the kids are dead? And Skinner said, we ride these bikes to Mexico.
Shit.
They're within bike riding distance of Mexico, and it is 768 miles from outskirts of Springfield to Mexico City. As you will see from this map, the only state of America that they could be in is Texas. I've solved this mystery.
Motherfucker, that is some good shit.
I'm actually genuinely pleased with that.
Yeah.
I think that is the, like...
Okay, we gotta write to Al Jean when this episode comes out. Al, we solved your little mystery.
Hi,
Hi, Al.
Jane. Hi, Jane. That's where I was going with
Yeah,
that.
we've been practicing hygiene.
We've been practicing hi, Jane.
God, we ruined it with that shit joke right at the end. Damn it!
Damn, dang, done!
Now they're gonna take our license away.
Anyway, so I'm sure that there are other people that have figured that out too.
I don't know that there are. I feel like you might be the pioneer here.
Look, we're better to be a pioneer than Texas.
Yeah,
Or
you've
perhaps-
literally struck oil in the
perhaps-
Texan oil fields.
No, I was going to say, we're better
Wait
to
a
be...
minute, they actually do strike a fucking oil field.
Fuck, they do!
Yeah. In Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Yeah, with the oil field.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, okay.
Oh my god, we've got this.
Ha! This could be a genuine Pods of the Kia Springfield scoop.
Yeah.
Pods of the Kia Scoop Field.
Scoop. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Oh shit. Save that for right at the end as well. We're gonna have to... What are you doing?
You can start.
Okay, I feel like, yeah, we're gonna have to, when I'm writing the notes for this one, like, advertise that it ends with a shocking discovery.
Yes.
Oh my god. I'm gonna
very
tweet
shocking
about this the moment we're done, I think. I won't tweet the thing, I'll just say that we've discovered something.
I mean,
And it doesn't involve any folded over universes, or, I mean, Colossus might be involved somehow, but I did notice the radius is drawn on the screen in green there, so, you know, who knows. But,
I may have specifically chosen green because it's my favourite colour.
okay, you are wearing literally 2 different shades of green right now.
That's a good point. In a house that's entirely... You know Blue by Eiffel 65?
Yeah, I'm blue, da-bu-dee-da-bu-da.
I'm that, but green.
I'm yellow, da-bu-dee-da-bu-da, and this is Coldplay. Okay, so...
Fuck.
We had 2 episodes in this podcast. One extraordinarily good, one pretty so-so, and now you've got a guitar. So I assume you're going to sing something.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna end with...
Guerrilla Radio?
No, I'm going to end with a song.
Okay.
So we can do the normal winding down, normal
Okay.
ending.
Okay, so thank you for listening to Pods in the Key of Springfield, a podcast nominally and sometimes literally about The Simpsons. I've been James, that's been Nick.
Hello.
We much appreciate your patronage. You can contact us at podsinthekeyofspringfield@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at Key Springfield, on Facebook with the name of our podcast. Or, I suppose you could just put out some smoke signals in the shape of our faces and we'll find you.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Next week, we will have the season finale for season 4, and then we'll do a movie episode.
Finale is Spanish for final.
Thank you for that, Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Woozer Wuzzle.
Oh, whacking day, a hallowed snake skull cracking day. We'll break their backs, gouge out their eyes, their evil hearts will pulverize. Oh, whacking day, may God bestow his grace on thee. In Springfield. Oh, that was not a good chord for us to end on.
In Springfield.
I wish
Well,
I
that
had
was fun.
pre-gamed this and come up with like some rap remix of that song and then launched into that, but I didn't and don't want to put in the effort required. Da-da-da-da.
I'm doing the mid-2000s version of every rap song for you. You know how in mid-2000s, all like pop hip-hop songs started with like a broken arpeggiated guitar chord?
They'd all been mashed up with Elton John or something. good.